Come on, sweet boy, come on. They get about a total of 7 pounds of fish each day.
Right now she's getting 37 ounces of apples, which usually equates to about 6.5 apples, if you can imagine.
We go through a lot of food. Everyone thinks the animals just eat the grass that they're standing on, especially for the hoofstock. That is not the case.
It's important for us to mimic what the animals would experience in their wild setting here at the Detroit Zoo.
And there's at least thousands, maybe even close to 1 billion crickets in here.
We have camels, rhinos, giraffes, generate a fair amount of manure.
We can get so much information from the animal poop. It's sort of like a little gold mine for us. It's not just waste, but it gives us a lot of really valuable information.
Hi everyone, I'm Randy Hamilton.
I'm Maurice Anderson.
And welcome to the Detroit Zoo Inside and Out.
So Maurice, you talk to so many visitors every day. What is one of the favorite questions that you hear?
I often get asked how many animals we have and what some of our largest animals are. I always tell guests we have over 2,000 animals of 200 species and that our largest animal is the rhinos. So what are some of the questions you hear?
Oh, I get everything from what are they eating right now, which I wish I knew, but then I have to remind them that we have amazing caretakers who think of the diets that those animals need every day.
One of the closest encounters that you'll get here at the Detroit Zoo is our giraffe encounter, where guests have the unique opportunity to go up on the platform and feed our giraffes. We have little ones that get to take the leaf and put it in the giraffe's tongue, which is amazing. They absolutely love that.
And the reaction to the tongue is always one of my favorites. It's those connections and those sparks. It makes it so special.
So we're always talking about food and how much food we have here at the Detroit Zoo, how much we feed the animals, what do they eat? How much food would you say we go through for the specific animals?
Oh my goodness, so much food. And not only is it prepared expertly, but it's prepared very carefully and fed to the animals very carefully. Every week, the animals go through almost 2 tons of produce, over 900 pounds of fish, and over 80 pounds of browse. And what is so cool about the browse that we have here is many of them are grown on grounds, and then the staff will go out and cut them down and put them in the freezer so that they can be served to the animals throughout the year. It's the coolest story.
So there's a lot of mouths to feed at the Detroit Zoo. We talked about how much food we go through each week, and that's a lot of prep work that goes into that. You talk about some of the things that go into before we open the zoo to get all that food prepared.
Before the zoo opens, it's actually quite magical. Many things are happening throughout the zoo to prepare for the day. The amount of hours in preparation to cut vegetables, separate out hay, and then the fact that they have to send that all out in trucks and in packages for all of the different specialty care teams to take out and get ready for the animals to enjoy. It's an incredible operation to watch.
Here in the commissary, we just want to make sure everybody eats, everything eats. So we have to keep it all going.
It was nice. We had a volunteer come in here not too long ago, and she said that this was kind of the heart of the zoo, which really warmed my heart.
The recipe is going to get them 800 grams of various produce right here, a lot of root vegetables, and then we'll add some romaine at the end. Hello, my name is Thomas Brown. I'm a zookeeper here at the Detroit Zoo. Been working in the commissary for about 3 years now. And commissary is, of course, the diet prep for the animals at the zoo.
Hey, my name's Katie Kaufman. I'm part of the birds department here at the Detroit Zoo. I've been here for 2.5 years, a little over that, and now I am the birds commissary keeper. I have been for almost a year now, and it's nice and cold in there. And this is our produce cooler, so everything has to be separated out. So all of my produce will hang out in here. All of my fish and meat produce actually hangs out in a different fridge. So we have plenty of fruit for everything, and when I mean everything, I mean everything. Our cassowary Neo, who is our female cassowary, she consumes about 18 pounds of fruit a day. So that equates to a little over 120 pounds of fruit every single week. Yeah, Neo absolutely loves her grapes, which makes it such an awesome training tool for her because she finds it very reinforcing. I tried a few times to give her cherry tomatoes, which look like grapes, and once she figured out that they weren't actually grapes, she was like, no, no, no. For a cassowary, since she's a very, very large bird, she actually weighs around 130 to 140 pounds. You can actually make her diet pretty big. So I usually just cut these apples in half.
Depending on the animal, we'll cut it up small or large. It has to be something they consume. Sometimes we'll cut it up to a different size so that they can hide it or spread it into something to make it more interesting for them. It's usually a couple of hours a day of chopping up and prepping food. And then the rest of the time is taking the food out to deliver, going back and forth to different animal training sessions. When we do our diets, it is by the prescription of the vets, and the vets will tell us what each animal, and a range of things, what each animal is supposed to be eating. And from that, we'll develop a recipe for the animal.
My name is Dr. Ann Duncan, and I'm the Associate Vice President of Life Sciences at the Detroit Zoo. So we start by learning about what the animals that we care for here would be eating in the wild. And then we look at all of the foods that we have available to us here in Michigan, in this area. And we try to put together a diet that not only meets their nutritional needs, but also meets their behavioral needs. So that they can have natural feeding behaviors, whether that means hunting for something, whether that means tearing apart a carcass and exercising their jaw and their claws and their muscles and their mind as they take apart a carcass. We look at all of those things, and then we put together a diet that meets all of those needs. When it comes to the food that we feed here at the zoo, one thing that might be surprising is that all of it is of the quality that could be served in a restaurant or eaten by any of us, any humans. All of our food comes from the same places where we get our food. We aren't using any second-rate produce, any produce or foods that are not fit for human consumption. So we're paying the same amount of money and buying high-quality foods for all of our animals. So the day-to-day diets that we feed, they can get us usually to a really very good nutritional place. Just like with the diets that we eat, you want to be eating a large variety of fresh, nutritious foods in order to meet most of your needs, but then adding a little bit on top of that in the form of a supplement can really help in some cases.
We also put a little calcium supplement on it every day. It's for bones and structure, so just also for when she does have eggs.
Our rhinos are eating hay that's built here in North America, but we know from some research studies that they need some additional vitamin E, and so we offer that in a supplement that they get.
They get a specialized pellet that is got all the nutrition needed for herbivores, and this is one of their favorite foods. And then they also get vitamin E supplement, so I put that on their food. And you can see Jasiri's real excited for breakfast.
A lot of our supplements used at the zoo are not necessarily just for nutritional goals, but they're also to help them with health challenges that they have. For instance, we have older animals that might have trouble maintaining weight as they age. And so we might be looking at adding things that are more calorically dense so that they can just keep their weight in a healthy range as they age.
Just like people, sometimes it's okay to eat something once in a while, but you can't eat it every day. So we have to make sure the treats don't come too often. We do make a lot of the ice treats here in our big freezer. We'll put tubs of water with their favorite things in it and make a big popsicle out of frozen fish maybe, if you're a polar bear or something, or put something else in there that'll make it more interesting, give them a little more time and engagement in how much they're eating and how they're eating it and how they're interacting with it. A lot of the sea otters, for example, they do a pretty good amount of food and fish and crustacean type items that would be pretty good for me, a crab boil, but you know, they get that as their everyday diet. So they're eating pretty good every day. We're almost here with this, and we'll put this back in the fridge. We don't want to leave things out of the fridge for too long.
You are what you eat is true. And so having a good diet, having all of the nutrients that you need is key to your health. It's key to having a healthy body condition. It's important to immune function. It's critically important.
There you go. Now you're ready to feed some warthogs.
Warthog!
They chirp 24 hours a day, though probably louder overnight.
We go through thousands of crickets every week. Here at the Amphibian Center, there's always crickets in our shirts or crickets in our boots, and you know, it's always a fun game to see where one shows up. It could be anywhere at any time.
We talked about the pounds and the tons of food that we go through, but by the numbers, the thing that we have the most of would be
Crickets.
Crickets, yes.
And you know, what's amazing about that is those crickets have an amazing life here. And our teams actually came up with that idea to not only breed crickets here and ensure that they have a great quality of life until they do actually have to become diet for an amphibian or another animal, but the fact that we have an opportunity for our teams to create ideas along those lines to enrich the lives of the animals that live here is pretty incredible.
I do actually really like the sound of crickets chirping. My name is Emily Reiser. My job title is technically amphibian zookeeper, but specifically I'm assigned to the cricket room. And there's at least thousands, maybe even close to a billion crickets in here. That one's actually laying eggs right now. So you can see her moving her ovipositor up and down to get in the dirt. So there you go.
So we go through thousands of crickets every week. We breed them at the zoo on site. We go through probably 10,000 plus crickets a week feeding out food for our animals. So that's very important to us. My name is Mark Vassallo. I'm the curator of amphibians at the Detroit Zoo. So here at the Amphibian Conservation Center, we feed live crickets because it's more stimulating. When we feed live animals, it's important for them to have the sensation and the experience for their own welfare of hunting, you know, sensing their prey, stalking their prey, and then consuming their prey. For the animals here, that's an important enriching process that we promote.
Crickets are great because they'll eat whatever you put in front of them. So if we know like something needs more vitamin A, etc., we can easily make sure they eat those things and have them in their guts for what eats them.
So even before the crickets come to the building, we feed them a specialized diet to get them ingesting good nutrients that will then be ingested by the frogs and newts and salamanders at the amphibian centers. They're eating lettuce, they're eating sweet potatoes. After that, we bring them to the building, we dust them with minerals and vitamins, and then we feed them out using deli cups.
A good indicator of like what size to feed them is usually the space between their eyes. We try to go a little bit smaller than that because we don't want them to choke on it.
And we also have to be careful about how we feed them because certain animals hunt and find their prey in different ways. So we have to make sure we put them, for instance, in a tree if they're arboreal, meaning they live in the tree, or if they're a more terrestrial or a species that lives on the ground, we'll scatter them more on the ground.
Almost all of our terrestrial amphibians have crickets of various sizes. A lot of people are familiar with reptiles eating crickets. And birds as well, the free flight aviary gets regular orders. But what folks might not know is it's great enrichment for some of our mammals like aardvarks, have them, a lot of our bears have them, because in the wild they'll be flipping over logs and eat whatever grubs and insects are under there. So it's a great enrichment item and also something that our bigger mammals can chase and hunt safely and still get a lot of joy from chasing after what might be moving popcorn to them. We also have dubia roaches, similar to crickets in that just like them, they don't really have like a larval stage. Like from hatching, they also are just smaller versions of their adult cells. So in that way, they're also really great for feeding our wide variety of animals in a wide variety of sizes. Like especially some of our larger frogs love dubias, but we like to give a variety.
When I'm watching them hunt and go through these natural processes, each and every one of these amphibians has their own way of finding their food, sensing their food. And so for a person who's worked with them and studied them for so long, each one is a specific way of reaching it, either with their tongue or grabbing with their mouth. Some of them have tiny little teeth they hold their prey with if they're a giant salamander, for instance. So each one of them, to me, is kind of a little insight into what they would be doing in the wild. And each one is unique and pretty special to me to watch eat.
Both the volume, I think, sometimes surprises people. Sometimes people thought it would be a lot more. The fact that is that with the number of animals we have, it's quite a bit. We have camels, rhinos, giraffes, generate a fair amount of manure.
It's sort of like a little gold mine for us. It's not just waste, but it gives us a lot of really valuable information.
Do you know what brown gold is?
No.
It's the valuable stuff that we not only clean, pick up, but also compost, but we also study it. And that's for our animals' welfare, to understand what's going on in their lives and their wellness.
So we are studying poo. That's really what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yep.
These are fecal samples from our female swamp monkey, and I will be measuring them for cortisol. Hi, my name is Emily Beauvais. I am the Center for Zoo Animal Welfare Laboratory Associate. So I run all of the fecal samples here in the endocrinology lab.
So endocrinology is the study of animal hormones. My name is Dr. Grace Fuller, and I'm the Senior Director of Animal Welfare and Research for the Detroit Zoological Society.
We can get so much information from the animal poop. You know, so many different types of hormones, so many types of information that can help us about their health. So it's sort of like a little gold mine for us. It's not just waste, but it gives us a lot of really valuable information.
We have two sort of main lines of research that we do here in the labs. One of that is reproductive monitoring. So we're measuring hormones like progesterone and estrogens that can give us an idea if an animal is cycling reproductively or potentially if they're pregnant. And then our other line of research concerns what we would call stress. Stress is something we're all familiar with. It's normal. Every animal experiences it. It's not even necessarily a bad thing. But knowing when an animal is responding with more or less stress can kind of give us an idea of whether we're caring for them in the best possible way that will help them thrive. So if we can look at an animal's hormones related to stress in two different conditions, we're able to say sometimes this way that we're caring for them might be better. So we've used that approach, for example, to study whether we should house the gorillas together as a group overnight or whether we should let them have a little break and sleep separately. If you have animals that are living in social groups, you need to find a way to figure out whose sample belongs to who. Often the animal care staff will feed the animals something like non-toxic glitter or a non-toxic sort of food dye that we're able to use to help identify the samples.
The samples get frozen and then they get freeze dried. So we're taking all the water content out of the samples, and then after they're freeze dried, they get crushed into a fine little fecal powder. And then what I'm doing right now is weighing the samples that have already been crushed. Then I will extract the hormones from them, and that involves just adding ethanol and shaking the samples up for a good amount of time. And then what's left in that ethanol will be the steroid hormones that we are targeting. And then from them, I will run something called an assay, and then that will give us the hormone concentration. So a few steps to get to that final hormone, but they're all equally important.
You can't just go to the drugstore and get a pregnancy test for a giraffe or a lion. So we are able to look at fecal progesterone levels in a lot of animals, and the first time that we did this in the lab, we had really wonderful results.
When we first got into the sort of reproductive monitoring, I was able to confirm that Zara was pregnant with Jehudi back in 2022, and it was sort of the first time we dipped our toes into that. And so being able to say this animal is pregnant and let the keeper staff know, that was really very rewarding.
And this type of research and monitoring efforts help us really make sure that we're doing the best possible care that we can for them.
So I'm going to ask you, what do we do with all the poo?
Yeah, so we have a ton of food that we give, and so there's a lot of waste that comes out. And so the waste that we have here at the Detroit Zoo, we turn that into herbivore compost. And so we really are trying to make it a full cycle from they eat the food, there's waste, but we have something that we can utilize here at the Detroit Zoo.
The manure, it gets all collected by our life sciences team, the animal keepers. It then goes into these metal hoppers and these bins. Once it's collected there, it then comes and gets collected with our landscape team. Our landscape team takes the material, collects it all, combines it, puts it into a dumpster. I'm Andy McDowell, Manager of Sustainability with the Detroit Zoo. So the material really, the way we quantify it is it's about 10 to 12 cubic yards each week. That gets all put into a 20-yard dumpster and it's hauled off every 2 weeks. Right about 540 cubic yards each year. It's fairly consistent. We then take that material off-site to an industrial composter, so they get the temperatures up very hot. And with that heat, it actually kills off a lot of bacteria, a lot of the pathogens, and it really helps manage a lot of the weed seed that could be mixed in from the yard waste. Once it's generated down into compost and broken down, they are then able to package it up into different sizes, scales, depending on where they sell it. Ourselves here at the zoo, we receive a couple of truckloads back, and those truckloads, we then each spring get it. We're able to reuse that on campus at our facilities. We also package some of that up ourselves here, which we will then sell in our shop at the zoo shop.
When people come and visit us during Greenfest, many attendees walk away with gallon buckets of zoo poo and put it into their own gardens at home. But I hear it is the best compost around. So we got a chance to learn a lot about how much animals eat today.
Absolutely.